Hello, hello. How is everyone this evening? Not sure if anyone's watching yet, but I'm going to get started because there's a lot going on tonight with some other people having some live streams. So I want to welcome everybody to my first live stream. And I'll give you a brief introduction as to who I am. Many of you have probably seen me around Girl World. um, as part of different reactors channels, participating in the chats and stuff like that. I am a fourth year university student studying psychology, and I'm going to be going on to do my master's after this in psychotherapy, specializing in addiction. So, on that note, I wanted to discuss some of the behaviors that we see online quite a bit in this little corner of the internet and how they actually would relate in to real life in the sense as to how people who are in the mental health profession would uh, would speak about some of the behaviors that we see, observations that are made, consequences of the behaviors, and things like that. So let's get started. I wanted to review, since we're relating this to Girl World, and Chantel, Foodie Beauty, I wanted to talk about two of the biggest things that come up during her videos. She talks about having binge eating disorder and food addiction. And those were two very different things, two very different diagnoses. They can coexist together. They can be concurrent disorders. So that means that you could have both of them at the same time. You could suffer from both of them at the same time. But they are two very different things. So let's just start with the definitions of these two items. So, talking about binge eating disorder. Binge eating disorder does fall in the DSM 5. And it is defined as, sorry, just bear with me here. Sorry, first live stream. It's going to be a little bit of a goat rodeo. Okay, binge eating disorder is a mental disorder that can affect the way that you eat. When you have binge eating disorder, you are going to eat a lot of food in a short period of time on a regular basis. You have no control over what you are eating or how much you eat, and you feel disgusted, you have feelings of guilt, you're depressed, you feel like you're in a lot of stress after you have these binges. The binges can be in response to a low mood or depression, anxiety, stress, or feeling numb. And people with binge eating disorder don't try to purge the food that they eat, as when you see people with bulimia that they try to binge and purge. And a lot of people characterize binge eating disorder as compulsive overeating. Now, when we're going to compare that to addiction, addiction is not in the DSM 5. So that is the first major difference right there between the two diseases. So the only addictions that uh, are acknowledged in the DSM-5 are drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and gambling. Now, people who suffer from food addiction do display the same or very similar behaviors as someone that is suffering uh, from either drug abuse, alcohol abuse, or gambling. It's the same cycle of addiction that they go through. So, when it comes to food addiction, people who are addicted to food are suffering, or sorry, people who are addicted to food are craving highly palatable foods, which are usually rich in fat, sugar, salt. And these types of foods will trigger a chemical reaction in your brain that will induce those feelings of pleasure and satisfaction. So you're going to get that dump of dopamine and serotonin in your brain that you would be looking for with any type of illicit substance or behavior. So the the response to the response that the addict is looking for is that response that is going to activate the brain reward center. So food addicts become dependent upon the good feelings that are obtained from consuming these foods, which often perpetuates the cycle to continue to get these good feelings that they get, and they continue to eat even when they're not hungry. People with food addiction will gorge on certain foods, and they will overindulge and eat more than they need to get that pleasurable feeling. So of course, food addiction, very much like BED, could lead to things such as digestive issues, heart disease, obesity, lower self-esteem. You're going to feel depression, isolation, those feelings of guilt and shame as well with a food addict. So one of the difference between someone who is uh, suffering from addictive behaviors and, say, binge eating disorder is they are they are going to be. I'm so sorry, my tab just flipped to the wrong one there. My apologies. So here we go. Um, Let me start over there. Okay. So when you're looking at diagnosing someone with an addictive behavior, you are going to be looking at diagnosing them on a spectrum. So is the behavior that the person indulging in, is it having a very little effect on their life? Is it having a moderate effect on their life? Or is it completely controlling their life? So someone who has very little effect on their life, it might be someone who, if we're talking about food addiction, maybe it's someone that um, indulges in junk food on the weekend. If it's having a moderate effect on their life, then they're indulging in that junk food, you know, more often during the week. And maybe it's having other effects where they are possibly, you know, um, not eating a healthy meal that they prepare for themselves in order to have junk food to satisfy that craving. And then, of course, on the severe end of it, you're going to have someone who needs to have it every day, sometimes even multiple times a day. It's affecting all aspects of their life. They are avoiding responsibilities. They are avoiding social contact with other people because it becomes just about getting that food that they need to eat. And because that quite often, again, you are start to deal with those feelings of guilt and shame, you do it alone. And then you also see that on the binge eating side of it. Um, but the binge eating side of it um, does not tend to interfere in a person's life in such a way as an addiction does. So I hope that makes sense to you, all that are listening. Hi, No More Nashies. No, no problem. I appreciate you popping in for a minute. Welcome, welcome. I know that the first, few of these that I do, there's not going to be very many people around, but that's okay. Hopefully it'll start to grow. Okay, so then, how does this relate to some of the people that we see online? So, talking about some of the most recent videos that Chantel has put up, Foodie Beauty, where she's been quite ill over the past few weeks. We know that she is a diagnosed type 2 diabetic. Um, we're not sure if she says that she is recovering from a terrible kidney infection that she had. She's not a reliable narrator, so we're not sure if there was also more complications from her diabetes due to her being sick. But what she did talk about in her couple of last live updates that she uploaded is she talked about going through a detox and how she felt so much better, and she was already saying and using terms like I was a food addict. Um, and making comments about how she was never going to treat her body really terrible again, and she this was kind of her rock bottom, and everybody she never knew diabetes was so serious. So I'm going to play just a few of the clips that some timestamps that I marked from her videos, because I want to just comment on how I would react if this was presented to me as a case study, what questions I would ask of the patient, and to try and get a more complete picture, more complete information from them. Okay, so bear with me while I figure out how to share a screen here. Okay. Okay, I've got the first one queued up, so I hope it plays okay. Let me unmute her. And I don't know how any of this is going to work or come across, so I hope it's not too loud. Okay.
I didn't even realize this. Was
So this
going
is just a
through
couple
like a
seconds
complete
before.
detox because for like many days I didn't eat anything. I was just drinking because I couldn't. Like I was being sick, like throwing up. And I like didn't realize how just like the way it like okay, after about 3 days of not eating, your body will go into like a detox. Even people, even if you don't like believe in that crap, even people on keto, whatever, they go through like a keto flu, right? So your body, because your body is detoxing from all the crap you eat. I would eat crap like every day. So my body's used to being fed. I was a food addict. So, certain foods are highly addictive. And if you eat them every day and then you don't give your body any of that, you're going to crash. If you go from eating thousands of calories a day to not eating at all, you're not going to feel too well.
Okay, so I'm just going to pause it there. So everyone loves Dr. Chantel, right? Kind of a little, uh, caveat to my name there, Dr. Funnygirl. No, I'm not a doctor. I'm just going to play one on the internet for the next little while. But so Chantel talking about, her body going through a complete detox, she was a food addict, and, seems like she has a little bit of self-awareness that she was, constantly stuffing herself with terrible, unhealthy food. Um, and that she couldn't eat because she's been ill for the past little bit. So as someone who would be looking to treat somebody in this position, questions I would start to ask at this time is, um, you know, what is it about being ill that has led you to feel that, it is what your food intake that is causing you to become ill? Because when you're trying to, when you're someone who's dealing with addictive behaviors, you need to be able to obviously have self-awareness as to why you are participating in this behavior. What is, what other than the actual physical need for the serotonin and dopamine dump into your brain, you have to get to the core as to why you are participating in this behavior. So I just wanted to start there with Chantel because to me, it was kind of the beginning of she's talking about how she cured herself. She feels like she's over it already. So I'm just going to go to the next timestamp that I have saved. Okay, this is again just if this is just a few seconds before what I want
Ever
to
gorge
play.
on like artificial, disgusting, fried, I don't know. You know what I mean? Um, hmm. But yeah, anyway. Okay, okay. You guys are just joking. I'm just like I'm just like in a bad mood. I don't know. Hi Vanessa.
So we
Maybe I
know
don't have a bad
Chantel's
mood.
always,
That's
she
what's
seems to
annoying.
always come on when she's in a bad mood.
Oh, here it is. Okay, so give me a second, guys.
Okay, I'm going to pause it there because
Yeah, thank
my
you.
apologies. I
Afi
think I wrote down the
amina
wrong
inshallah.
timestamp, so I apologize for that. Um, just give me 1 minute. So the other thing that Chantel does a lot of when she's talking about things that are going on in regards to her life or her medical diagnosis is she uses the term, you know what I mean, you know what I mean. And again, looking at this through a clinical lens, if someone is saying that to me, then my response to them is, I'm going to need you to give me something specific when instead of saying, you know what I mean. And the reason that you want to do that is because again, you do, you need to get the person to acknowledge what it is exactly they are doing when they are participating in these negative behaviors. And we all know that, people who have dealt with addicts in their life, or people that are, have people in their lives that have uh, addictive behaviors and negative behaviors, is that avoidance is huge, right? Um, that's the biggest problem when it comes to addiction. So, and then go moving on along in Chantel's video. Let me just share my screen again. Okay, get back into the right tab. Oops, sorry. Okay. I am going to learn how to, uh, put all these clips and stuff together too. I'm just not very good when it comes to technology. So I'm going to get my son to sit down and help me with some of this stuff if I can get him to spend a few minutes with me. Let me just get on to the next timestamp I have. So if you're watching this after on the replay, I really appreciate you guys sticking through it to the end. It's my first video. our first live stream, trying to get talk about some of the stuff that I'm learning in school, um, just to give a little bit of scientific background to it. You know, psychology is empirically based, so theses are, are tested on the scientific method, using the scientific method. Um, they have to be repeated over and over again to prove their validity. So it's there's a lot of work that goes into it. So as a side note, while I'm bringing up this next timestamp, I participated in a research team in my fall semester in regards to it was studying animals, but then relating it to human behavior. So it was really interesting, but it was very rigorous, very difficult, a lot of work. But it was one of the best things that I'd done so far in my schooling career. So, and I am almost there, I think. Oh, sorry, now I've gone past it. Okay. So the other thing too that Chantel is, and that's why I'm going to be playing this clip, is she has a big attitude when it comes to stuff. So let me just play this and I'll tap it back.
So yeah, anyway.
Let me get it. There we go.
Like, eat so much, Yeah, just fruit and then like salad and like a little bit of chicken breast. I've been ordering like soups made at like a health place. They're like vegan, but because I'm trying not to eat like really high saturated fat stuff because my body and high fat stuff is not good. And
So again, you hear
yeah,
Chantel
using
say that. So, okay, she's acknowledging the high fat stuff is not good. Common sense, right? But saying it out loud doesn't necessarily mean that it's a full acknowledgement of what it actually does to your body and what it's actually doing to our mental health as well. So, again, let's move along to my next timestamp here.
need to cut back on the cheese. I haven't had like any cheese, Kitara. Hi, Sandra.
We all know how Chantal loves cheese,
I'm
right?
probably not gonna have much cheese ever. Like, really, honestly, it's gonna be like very rare.
So she's
Like, I don't
making
even
that
like when I think
statement,
of cheese,
not
I don't
much
even feel
cheese
well.
ever. When I think of it, it
Like,
makes me
I don't know.
sick.
My body was really sick. So, hopefully it stays that way. I don't know, but I feel like some kind of like detox away from, like, think of any addiction you have. If it's drugs, if it's alcohol, you need to detox from it. And I feel like while the detox is less intense and deadly, if it's food, it's still something you're addicted to. You need to remove yourself from it for a few days. And, you know, I guess you could detox by still eating like only whole food, but since I was sick, I didn't eat. So that helped me, when I finally did have somewhat of an appetite. I was craving whole foods. I wasn't craving noodles or chocolate cake. Like, just
Okay, so she said a lot there in that little sentence or little paragraph. So talking about, she makes the comments that with every any drug addiction or any addiction, people need to detox, which generally is true. Um, but then she goes on to talk about how, you just need a few days away from it, and then that she, you could detox with some whole foods, but she didn't detox with whole foods because she was sick and she couldn't eat anything. And then when she was able to eat, she started craving whole foods, fruit, soups, things like that. So, again, again, um, you know, she's talking about things that someone who is an addict um, already out in the past tense, not not quite someone who's very actively participating in trying to uh, recover. And we're just talking about a few days here that she's been you know clean eating because she's got quite sick. So, and then she's already said, well, I'm not eating very much now, well, that's because you're just recovering from what sounded like quite a severe infection, and you're on several medications, which most people don't like to eat too much when they're on, a heavy drug load of medications and you're recovering from an illness. So, So a lot of what she was talking about here is, and I see no more nashies actually put it in the comments. I missed it when you typed it. Apologize for that. No more nashies. But she's talking about what's called the pink cloud. So what is the pink cloud? Well, the pink cloud, I'll give you the actual definition. And anything that I talk about, I will be able to, I'm going to post links in the description. So if anybody wants to go check out any of the information, or you know somebody or need somebody who needs assistance with any of this, check out the links for sure that I'll post, and hopefully you can get some assistance if you need it. So pink clouding, or the pink cloud syndrome, is is a stage of early addiction recovery that involves feelings of euphoria and elation. So when you're in this stage, you're excited, you feel confident that you're going to make a full recovery, very much like a honeymoon phase. Now, the pink cloud doesn't last forever. And when you come out of the pink cloud, it can have a very negative impact on your recovery. So, a lot of people, again, they don't realize that this is what is happening. So, you've come out the other side of detox, withdrawal. Um, she's coming out of an illness as well, whether they are related or not. The detox that she's putting in and her actual illness are related or not. We don't know. But she's obviously feeling so much better than when she was just a few days ago, because if you remember her video from a few days ago, she said she felt like she had never been this sick. Never. She was very, very ill. So people, again, that are going through the pink cloud, they feel happy. They're very hopeful. They're very positive. They may feel very calm. Um, they're very confident that they are going to maintain their recovery, and they are, focusing on the positive aspects of recovery. They're committing to making these positive lifestyle changes. They have some increased emotional awareness, which I think we've seen based on a couple of the clips that I played. And but the one thing that they are also doing, which could have a very negative impact on them once they come out of the pink cloud, is they're overlooking the hard work that it's going to take to keep up with their recovery. And then this is something that I think that we see a lot with Chantel, because whether or not she suffers from food addiction, a lot of the behaviors that she displays are the same as people that that are suffering from different types of addiction. Now, I am not diagnosing her with either food addiction or BED. I am just saying that the behaviors she has displayed online are reflective of what you see in people suffering from addiction. Now, she has said herself that she has BED. I don't know if she's ever come full on out and said that she suffers from a food addict. So, well, I see a couple more people. Oh, yeah, Norma Nash is saying she's familiar with it. Oh, hi, Lion Eyes. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. No problem. Catch the replay for sure and share it all over the internet and hit like and all those things that, content creators are supposed to ask for. So, um, No More Nashies. One of the reasons I am a mature student, and when I decided to go back to get my undergrad 4 years ago, um, part of what gave me a push was I was, myself, I was suffering for some, addictive behaviors that were creating a lot of negative consequences in my life, and I needed to change that. And going back to school definitely helped me. So this is, kind of why I'm passionate about it too, talking about it. So, um, you know, it's uh, it's you know, it's affected my real life, but going back to school was a catalyst for me to make those changes that I needed to make, and coming out the other side of it. So yeah, I'm definitely familiar with the pink cloud as well. So didn't know what it was before I was in school. Now I do. So now, in Chantel's next live stream that she did, her feverish live stream. Oh, thank you, No More Nashies. Thank you. Um, I'm not. I'll say this. I'm Chantel. I'm not a fan of Chantel. I'm not. I've always watched her through reaction channels, and she displays a lot of problematic behaviors. Uh, that I object to. But I I do hope that one day though she does get her crap together, because everybody deserves to be happy in life. And maybe, now now in saying that, that there are I see a lot of other problematic behaviors with Chantel. She's not exactly the nicest person, and she hasn't done a lot of nice things to other people. So, but that's something we can discuss on a for future episode when discussing the psychology of the other things I see are displayed online from certain people, certain content creators. But yeah, so okay, so let's I'm gonna move on here. So um I'm just checking my notes here for some other timestamps. So I'm not going to play the clips from the other videos, just because I do want to keep this live. I do want to keep my this live stream uh, to about 45 minutes, possibly an hour at most. I actually have two little dictators on four legs each that require their walk soon, so I have to get at them out, or else they'll commit mutiny on me. So, other things that came up during her second live stream that she did. Uh, yes, yes, no more Nashies. That is right. That you are absolutely right about that. She does not realize the weight of the havoc that she has brought onto not just herself, but other people in her life. And I just realized I was sharing my screen, so I'll stop to that. Yeah. Um, and that was big for me too, was finally seeing how some of those behaviors were affecting other people in my life, and people that I care about and that care about me. And that was huge catalyst for me as well. And yeah, so until she acknowledges that, she's not going to be able to really move further along, I don't believe. Um, because she's still very much living in denial, I feel like. Um, and so in the next video, she was already starting to talk about, so the next video I think came out a day after um, the live video where the pink clouding was happening. So the next video I think was called the Feverish live stream. She was already talking about how the cravings were starting to return, and that, you know, a little bit, again, a little bit self-awareness, the addiction was still there. Um, she was talking about how eating natural food. Yes, she did. Yeah, I know that blanket of bread. Yeah. I haven't even watched that video yet, but I've seen the clips of it. So, and I watched Sansa Cook's video on it. Yeah, that was something else. So, eating natural food, ignoring the head hunger, eating nuts and peanuts. Um, and then I think about maybe about an hour in, she started eating peaches, which, kind of that grabbed my attention because at the beginning of the video, she said she wasn't even hungry. But then at some point, she started eating peaches. So again, so if I'm observing this, I would say to her, at the beginning of the video, you said you weren't hungry, but then you started to eat the peach. So, again, I would be, forcing her, say to her, were you actually hungry when you ate that peach, or was it just because it was right there in front of you that you ate it? Like what drove that decision for you to pick up the peach and to start eating it? So, and then she was sad about not drinking the pickle juice, you know. Um, so, she talks about morning foods that she can't eat anymore and things like that. And these are all things that, you know, once I think you finally get to that moment where you need you're ready to accept the help of somebody or to get the professional help. Um, well, people, I think that, so she doesn't want to go through the morning of not being able to have all these foods that she wants to have, right? So again, she doesn't want to deal with the process of actually getting through feeling the emotions that are going to help get to that clarity of what you need, of what is going to bring you a little bit of peace in your life. And that doesn't mean that, you know, you, you're fully recovered or, or anything like that. It's just, meeting acknowledging or coming to that realization of one small thing can lead to so much further clarity on how you need to proceed with recovery, especially if this is something that you really want, right? It can just add a little bit of drive to you. So, and I believe too, I don't remember if it was at this Feverish Live Dream stream. She said that she wasn't going to actually do mukbangs anymore, and then the very next day, she loaded a video that had the four different beans and that blanket of bread, pita bread, and a chicken dish. I think so. Whether it's healthy food or not, eating it online is not conducive to someone who needs to move away from this type of behavior. Because someone who needs to, someone who is looking to change negative behaviors, they have to remove themselves quite often from that situation completely. So while I understand that, you know, she makes her living on YouTube, there are obviously other things that she can be doing, right? Like we all know this. Um, Everyone has talked about it as well too. So, um, and this is why too. Again, sorry, I've realized I'm a bit all over the place. I thought I was well organized. Apparently not. But I will get there. Um, this is a too a lot of these things that she says and the way she speaks tells me that she's not getting any type of professional help to deal with whether it's binge eating disorder or characteristics of food addiction or another type addiction, depression, anxiety, any of those things. Because first of all, there's not nobody will convince me that there isn't one therapist or counselor out there that would say to her, "Oh no, you can keep eating food online if that's the way you make your money." Like that is like when that's very much the biggest, is the root of her problem. So, um, so the for one of the first things they're going to say to her is you need to get offline and not be eating and displaying these behaviors online because and again, this is not a diagnosis, but very likely what is happening is that when she is eating online, she is also getting that dump of serotonin and dopamine because her brain has made the connection that she eats online and then she gets attention for it. So it's going to, again, it's almost going to give her probably a little bit of that, a double dump of that dopamine and serotonin because she's getting pleasure out of both of those things. So she needs to remove herself from that completely. Or anyone who's in this type of position would need to remove themselves from that completely. And if she is getting professional help, you're going to see changes in the way she talks about things. Okay. You were actually going to, you would see her talk about how, you know, she needs help in various areas, right? She obviously needs mental health um, assistance. I believe again, my personal opinion, because of the way the damage she's done to her body, she needs physiotherapy to help get her more active. We see that on 600-Pound Life all the time, right? Physiotherapists working with the patients to get them more active. She obviously needs to be under the care of a diabetes specialist who probably needs to be working with her at least for the immediate future on a daily basis on what she should and shouldn't be eating, how many carbs she's taking in, especially. Um, because she just doesn't quite seem to understand what she should be eating on a diabetic diet. And Sansa Cooks talks about that stuff as well. And again, any of the reactors that I mentioned, I'll list their channels as well in the description if you haven't watched any of their videos. Um, but eating 3 different types of beans for breakfast with a huge piece of pita bread and I think there was some chicken dish, even though we don't know how much she ate. Um, Eating that amount of food is still likely more than what she needs to be taking in nutritionally wise for her body. But again, you hear her using words like I was craving this. I was craving watermelon. I was craving beans and stuff like that. So someone who's in therapy or in counseling and is looking to move past craving some sort of food or getting over some sort of, you know, uh, focus on certain foods because she's had times where she would focus specifically on foods like Nashies, right? No more Nashies, Nashville chicken sandwiches and the lakmas and you know paneer and twisty misties, so trying to get past all of that stuff, you know transferring a craving to a healthy food, well, that will do her physical body a little bit better. It's not going to change the synapses in her brain pathways that have been created from all of the overeating that she's done. And that is where the changes need to be made in order for someone to be successful in losing um, the negative behaviors and changing their lives for positive behaviors. So, okay, so I am just about getting ready to wrap things up here. The one thing I did want to go over is some treatment options quickly that are available to people that are suffering from BED or food addiction. So we'll start with with binge eating disorder. So a couple of different treatment options available. Obviously, counseling is going to be a huge part of it. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBD, is probably the biggest form of therapy that is done. And CBT will help you to understand your thoughts and feelings and behaviors that are behind the actual disorder. And then you will also do probably some sort of interpersonal therapy, which will help you focus on your relationships with other people, and maybe even some family therapy. That just depends on, obviously, your personal family dynamic. You should be working with a nutritionist that can help you learn about correct calorie intakes and the foods that you should be eating. There's always support groups that are out there. Some people might need inpatient hospitalization. We've seen that again a lot with people on 600-pound life. And there are some medications that are out there. And then, of course, one of the biggest things that somebody who is trying to get over an eating disorder or binge eating disorder is they need to be able to self-help themselves. They need to be able to figure out what they can do to cope. So they have to develop strong coping mechanisms. Yes, it is. No more Nashies. CBT is one of the best things out there. DBT is becoming more popular as well, um, but CBT is absolutely fantastic. So, and if you're in if you're in Canada, the Canadian Mental Health Association has all kinds of resources available to their website online. I will definitely post those online as well. And I also found some worksheets that are related specifically to food addiction themselves. So I am going to post those online as well, if I'm able to, in my description, in case anybody wants to grab them. So, and then when it comes to food addiction, again, we're going to be looking at um, different types of treatment. So let me just grab my information here. And, inpatient, a lot of people have talked about Chantel needing inpatient treatment. And um, I do personally, again, based on what she's displayed, this is not, she has not undergone any type of actual assessments that she's put online anyways. Um, it could very well be an option for her. So, so food addiction treatment, again, we're going to be looking at, you know, coping mechanisms that someone needs to implement to help them over the hump. Again, CBT therapy is going to be big in someone trying to change negative behaviors for sure. So a lot of the treatments can be similar um, when it comes to treating these two different modalities, and that is because you do get a lot of similar negative impacts between the two of them. And, like I said at the beginning, a lot of people will suffer from both of them at the same time. So When it comes to food addiction, though, obviously the biggest priority is going to be, okay, how much of a negative impact is this currently having on my life? And if it's to the point where it's severe, then you then the person is going to need intermediate intervention, just like with any type of negative behaviors that are having a severe impact on somebody's life. Yeah, no more nashies. People, and that's the problem too with a lot of people dealing with addictive behaviors is they don't want to do the work, right? They want a quick fix. So yeah, no more Nashi's posted it here in the comments. I do believe along with the pink cloud, she may have gotten Ozempic or something similar. This is based on her level of smug. She looks for the quickest fix. Yeah. So that's again talking about other behaviors Chantel displays. Her level of smugness is off the charts. And again, that's something too I think you see with a lot of people with negative behaviors. They suffer from terminal uniqueness, right? That's huge. Uh, so they believe that all the regular treatments or aren't don't work for them. They need something special because they are special. So they are different from everybody else in recovery. Their experiences are unique and they are not subject to the same rules as everyone else. So, and people that suffer from terminal uniqueness use these phrases, um, that's not going to work for me, or they overgeneralize uh, the words, she does her biggest thing is, that one just gets under my skin when she constantly says that. You know what I mean? So, you know or she again, you hear things like, no one knows exactly what I'm going through, no one knows, how bad this is. uh you know um so other things that come along with that terminal uniqueness is, she won't she can't compare. She says things, well, I can't compare, everyone has their own journey. um they're manipulative, they display attention hoarding behaviors, and they believe that their way is the only way or is the right way for dealing with the situation. So I think a lot of those things too sound familiar to people who are familiar with uh, Foodie Beauty. So, okay, well, I'm gonna get ready to wrap it. Yes, we're all special, but we're not. Yeah. So, no more nashies. When it comes to physiology, while all our DNA is unique, our genes are not unique. Our genes are actually all the same. So, yeah. So it's you know, change can be made, absolutely. But yeah, it does take the work. And until she acknowledges that it is going to take work and a lot of work, and that at least right now she can't do it without professional help. So I hope that, you know, she does get there one day. You know, I certainly don't want the worst for her, but we will see, I guess. We will see. So, and I just realized, No More Nashies, I've had your one comment up on the screen here forever. Yeah, I am definitely a newbie and a boomer coming to this stuff, so hopefully I can figure this out. But I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and for watching. Um, I know it was this my first stream, a little bit of a goat rodeo. I was not as organized as I thought I was, so a little bit of a learning experience. But I do, for at least for the immediate future, while I'm off school and have a little bit of free time after work, I am going to try and do a few more of these live streams and see where they go, see if I can build a bit of an audience. Um, so, oh, thank you, No More Nashies. I really appreciate it. So, I know there's a lot of stuff going on in Girl World right now. You know, so today's been a bit crazy, and apparently tonight might be a bit crazy. But thank you again, everyone, for coming. Thank you to anyone who is watching the replay. Please like this the stream and subscribe. You know, let's start building up my audience here if I can. And, you know, leave a comment whether you liked it, whether you didn't like it. Listen, I'm open to everything. Um, so leave a comment. I will get back to you if I can. Don't think it would be an issue. Again, thank you all for coming. I will be back again, probably on the weekend. If you guys have any requests for anything that you'd like me to talk about dealing with psychology, whether it's Girl World related or not, leave it in the comments, and I will definitely take a look at it and can go from there. I'm also a huge true crime buff, so deviant behavior, forensic psychology, it's all my jam. So anyone who wants to talk about any of that stuff, leave some comments. If there's cases you want me to look at, do that. I'm more than happy to. Thank you again, everybody. I'm Dr. Funnygirl. Lots of love and peace to you all. Good night.